Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. So before you, I'm demonstrating how you can increase the size of your digital images, whether you're wanting a digital that can be expanded or increased, like a journal for a journal cover, or even your digital papers. You might want to increase that size. This tutorial is for you. I had to split this up. This video is already quite long, as you will note, but it is worth it because I go into it in great depth. So this is part 2. Part 1 will also be listed below or at the icon above to the right, hopefully. If it's not there, it'll be below on the part 2. That's the introduction, where I actually show you the printed out pages and I talk about it with my hands on. This is more a recording from my computer screen. I've done my very best. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions below, but I will do my best to answer them. If not, I will most likely try and do another video and address those if need be. But yes, so this is part 2. Part 1 is below, but I'm using something that would be universally available to everybody, especially if you can't afford to purchase any software editing, or you're not even sure how to go about using it. I thought I'd give you this. And so I'll put a timestamp on here. I'll just split it up in 2. The first part will be how I do this with an app called Paint. And then the second part will be how I use a word processor to create resizing or increasing the size of digitals. So that will be the second half of that video, so you can go straight to that if you prefer. But it is worth watching everything. It is going to require a bit of concentration, but it is worth your while. If you have purchased tons of digitals and aren't using them because they're not the size you're after, well, this is the video for you. It is worth it. Or share it with your friends or partners so that they can help you navigate through this process. Please share this video with others. We want to get the word out there so that people can really get the best out of the digitals they've got. All right, everyone, thank you. Let's get started with this tutorial. Enjoy. Everyone, it's Jaf here from Moody of Mirage. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me today. It's the 28th of February, 2023. There's one thing that I've been meaning to do for a while, and I bring you this particular video. And what is this particular video? This video is all about how to increase the size of your printables. And what do I mean by that? Okay, I'm just going to quickly show you. I'm going to be using papers from this particular kit. I will have all the relevant information listed below, whether I'm using kits, whether it's my thank you gift giveaways, and previous videos that I think might be helpful. I'll have them linked below in the description box. All you have to do is click on show more and everything will be there. So anyway, so I'm going to be using this particular image here. So this one here, and we're going to also be grabbing the spines. Now, you would have noticed in the actual title that I have here, and even down here below, you'll notice that I've actually given you the measurements. I've given you the perimeters of the actual cover. So the cover, as you can see here, is 5.25 by 725 inches. So the reason why I choose a general size like this is because it's a nightmare anyway for me as a digital designer to accommodate both A4 users and US letter size users. This was the only way that I could at least present to those that are interested the ability to have some historical based covers that I've actually improvised on. So that's one of the reasons why. Now, if you're trying to increase them or decrease them, decreasing is a little bit easier than increasing. You may run into problems because, as I say, I've given the specific measurements, and so the way that any printer will be printing these out will be approximately the size that I've just mentioned. So today's video is how to resize journal covers or any digital printable that is going to be customized for your needs. So if you want to increase the size of these, you can. The only thing you won't be able to do, unless you want to, is make it into a square shape. If you make it into a square shape, then you're distorting the look of that image and it will look a bit weird. But if you're just looking to enlarge it so that it fits your cover, because you might be going for a larger size than 5x7 journals, then this is the video for you. Now, I've chosen to show you how to do this just in case you feel daunted or intimidated by software editing programs that people purchase. There are some that are for free. I used to play around with GIMP years ago. I don't know if that's still available, but that is for free. But it does require a little bit of know-how and a little bit of learning how to use them. So eventually I will do another video. I've already done a video on how to enlarge or resize your images if you're feeling that you want to increase the size. And that's available, but the audio is shocking. You'd have to turn it full blast. So I'm hoping to update that one soon. So instead, I've opted for something for those of you that do use computers or know your way around them and have used word processors on computers. So I'm using a PC hard drive computer, and I don't know how to use a Mac computer. So you'll just have to follow the principles along with me. And because I'm using Windows 11, you're going to have to look at your own software programs that are running your software operating system. Whatever you're operating with your device or your computer, you're going to have to look for something that's equivalent to, and I'm going to show you what that is in just a moment, to something like this. Okay, to something like this. So as you can see up here on the left-hand side up at the top, this one's called Paint. It's untitled at the moment. You need something very, very basic, and that's what I'm going to show you how to use today. And also, you're going to need something called a word processor. I'm using OpenOffice. So that's my word processor. So let me just show you. So OpenOffice, as you can see here, can be used by anyone like Windows, Mac, iOS, Android devices, and so forth. So it's free. Word processor, and we're going to be utilizing that. Now, I'm not sure if I'll get it done in this segment of the video. If it is, it'll be towards the end. If not, I'll have to do one separate. But today we're going to be using paint. Let me just show you. So paint is very, very basic. As you can see here, it's Microsoft Paint, and it comes with Windows 11. It should come with Windows 10. It should be there with Windows 9. So have a look. If you're using Microsoft, have a look and see if you can find it. You'll just need to type it into your programs and see if it's available for you. But you can use any word processor. So say you've got another word processor like Libra, or I don't know, there's numerous ones out there. Feel free to use that. If you're familiar with it, then go right ahead. And if you've got something different to paint, go right ahead and use that. But as you can see, it's a simple raster graphics editor. And it really is very, very simple to use in comparison to, say, Photoshop Elements and Photoshop, as you know, two very popular editing software programs. Now, for those of you that don't have Microsoft, well, here's something that I found. I just put down, is there a paint app for Mac? And it looks like there is. It's Paintbrush. It's the original simple paint program for Mac OS. So I don't even know what that means because I'm not a tech head or a tech whiz, but at least it gives you an idea of the alternatives. So there are alternatives. It's just a matter of typing in your computer style type and your software operating system, and just put down simple paint program, or I don't know, editing program, simple. Yeah. All right, everyone. So we're going to be working, though, today with paint, because that's what I know how to use. But for those of you that are using something else, please do watch this if you're not familiar with this kind of setup. But it is worth your while learning. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just give you a little bit of a glimpse of this. Can you see right down the bottom here? I'm just going to be putting my little cursor thing around. It's on the bottom left. Can you see that it's got some pixels? All right. So this is the other thing you're going to need to know. So to make life really, really simple for everyone, you can see here, I've created some instructions. So before you can use the paint or your paint equivalent or OpenOffice or OpenOffice equivalent that you have, you're going to need to know your paper sizes in a little bit more intimate way. You're going to need to know measurements. So I've made this available for you to actually download. So that's going to be available for you to download below. So please go to the links below and you'll be able to have your own copy. Otherwise, if you're not in a position to do that, then I recommend that you just take a screenshot of this page. Now, this page is going to be so instrumental in helping you to resize your images to approximately the size that you're after. But you need these numbers for it to work with the programs we're going to be using. So as you can see at the very top, February 2023. And this is the method that I've come up with you. So this is another reason why, again, I've been delayed. I had to come up with some methods and I played around with it until I could find something that was as simple as possible. And I'm really, really happy with the alternatives I've come up for you. We're going to have two paper sizes. For those of you in the US and in other countries, you will have letter paper size, which is 8.5 by 11 inches. Okay, but I've also broken it down to centimeters. You're going to need those numbers. And I've broken it down to also pixels. So these are the equivalents for US letter paper size. Okay, now A4 paper users, I'm one of them. This is the digits for the inches, the centimeters, and the pixels. As you can see, there's quite a bit of a difference. Again, it's stressing the actual nightmare of trying to accommodate both. So that is where this is going to be so helpful for you, because you'll be able to create a page that was designed, say, for A4, and if you're US letter size, you'll be able to get it to fit exactly using these methods. Or if you're A4 users and you just quite can't get the right setup for your papers when you're using US letter paper size, then you'll be able to get the right fit. So it's all about getting that right fit and the right size to customize for your needs. Okay, so I have given you though some points. This is really important. Notice here I've got OpenOffice set printer. Please keep borderless setting unticked. So when I'm using my OpenOffice for this particular tutorial as an A4 user, I have to make sure I don't have borderless when I'm doing this with OpenOffice, okay? But you will need to choose your paper. Choose photo paper settings and make sure it's matte paper so that it will look sharp and clear, bright and perfect. So you don't want to just print on just plain printer paper. You want to get the best out of the kits you've purchased by using matte or photo paper. Did I write that? Yeah, photo paper settings to matte paper. Yeah, I might need to correct that. So when I have this downloaded, I'll make sure I have it as photo paper. But it's the same for letter size users. You want to make sure you are not doing borderless. Please keep borderless setting unchecked, so you don't want to use borderless at all. However, you may need to use borderless for the Microsoft Paint app or its equivalent. Now, if for some reason, and of course have it set to matte photo paper, or you can have semi-satin photo paper if you prefer. Now, the reason why it's borderless, it's actually going to allow for you to get the exact size. So if you end up not doing borderless, it could kind of decrease it or increase it. I can't remember now because as I said, it's been 10 days of grueling work and my nose to the grind, and yeah, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. So that's what I would recommend. So only for your test runs, so this is really important, only for your test runs, when you make a test run, would I recommend that you do it on plain printer paper and make sure your settings are to plain printer paper so that you're not wasting your ink or your papers. But if you're going to do the final finish and you're happy with everything, then definitely change your settings again. Okay, so these are your essential conversions. So this is going to make life easy for you. So say, for example, you want to go 5.5 by 7.5. These will be your essential your essential numbers. These ones along here. So this is the same as this in centimeters, and that's the same in pixels. Okay, so these are your numbers. Now, again, just remember that things aren't always neck and neck approximate. So that's why I'm using the word approximate. But at least you're increasing the size and getting closer to the size that you want. And it may mean you playing around with your digits a little bit. But I thought this would prove helpful and save you a lot of time. So today, though, these are the numbers that we're going to be playing around with. You can pick whatever number you want. You've got a whole range here, but I'm just going to make it really easy, and I'm going to show you that I'm going to pick 8 inches by 6 inches. That's going to be my increased cover size, and it's only an example, and it's only the principle. Once you have the principle, you've got the guides here and you can play around with them. Okay, so I hope that made sense. All right, everybody. So what I've got here are the 2 covers that I'm going to be playing around with. Okay. Now, when I design these, I actually design these on US letter size. So I want you to watch very, very closely. When I open up Paint, because this will be really, really important. Okay, so I've got my paint, and basically it's that icon here with that, what is it, a palette, a painter's palette. All right, so that's what the icon is. And so you might need to open up a few of these for it to work. So I might do one more. But remember down here, we've got pixels. All right, so what pixels are compatible with the numbers on the chart in front of you? Well, let me show you. So we've got up here, A4 letter size is 2480 by 3508. So this means this is set up for A4 users. But look, I want you to keep your eyes, though, below here at the numbers. So it's going to change. And this is what's going to happen. Whatever papers you're going to basically drag and drop in there, or copy and paste in here, it's going to change the numbers. So just watch carefully as I drag and drop. Ta-da! Okay, you can see here it's the pixel size of a US letter size paper. Now over here to the right, you've got the 100%. Well, we don't want it 100%. We want to just, you can re-zoom things, and we want to make sure we can see everything on the page. Okay, now at the moment, it doesn't really matter that this is this size. However, it will matter if you're going to be working with this on your page. So I'm just going to open up the other paint, and I'm going to show you what to do if you've got this weird number downstairs here that isn't fitting your paper size that you're going to be printing with. So how do we adjust this? Well, let's just again decrease the size. Can you see? Here's the perimeters, and you'll notice here, oops, let's just undo that. So over here, you've got File, you've got View, you've got Save if you want to save, you've got Redo and Undo. This one here is Paste. This one here is Copy. Hello. Doesn't want to copy at the moment. And this one here is Cut. And this is going to be your Select tool. And this is going to be Rotate. We're going to need these And we're also going to need this one here, image and skew. We're going to need these as they're important. So familiarize yourself with this. If possible, watch this video a few times. And if at all possible, if you have got a phone and you do have a computer and you don't have a second screen like I do because I'm a digital designer, then I would definitely set up my phone next to me, play this video, and then play around with this so that you can get used to doing this. Okay, so notice how there's these little squares all around here. Well, that means I can pull it out that way and I can do all sorts of groovy things. I can do this, I can do that. Okay, but we don't want that. We will undo and undo. All right, we want to get it back to this size. But what's going to happen now is, what if you are a US letter size user or you're an A4 user, but it says 1580 by 1580? We really need our printer page set up. So remember, we've got our numbers here. So all you need to do is get those pixels. All right. So for those of you that are, say, US letter size, what are the numbers there? 2550 3300. Okay, so you're going to go in here and here's a dialog box. We don't want percentage, we want pixels. So there it's giving you the numbers that are already shown below on your left hand side. We want to change them. Now, something very important to take note. See this here? If I change this to, I don't know, 9, did you notice that, oops, did you notice how it's changing this number? Well, that's going to be a problem because we've got no control. So how do we fix that? Well, let me just close this and we'll go back to our original numbers. Okay, see this here? This is maintain aspect ratio. We don't want that. We want to unclick because now we can correct the numbers here and correct the numbers there. So let's do the US letter size, but this is only for those that need it, not for A4 users right now, but it will come in handy as a principle if you're having an issue with the sizing down here. Okay, so let's go to 550 and over here is 3300. Is that right? Let's just double check. Yes. All right. Okay. All right. See how it changed it? And there's the correct numbers. So US letter size people, there you go. Now for A4 people, and say you do want to change it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another one. And you've probably played around with this and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I want to change it back. Well, very easy. You go undo. However, let's do a bit of a practice again. So again, for those that are A4 users, what do? We untick that to 480 and 35, whoops, 08. Okay, so I'm just typing them in with my keyboard. Okay, so see, this is really important to remember. Why? Because when you're printing your papers, you need to make the base the correct printer paper for your printer and the region that you're living in. Then you'll be able to put the actual printable that you want to resize on top of this, and that's what we're going to do now. So remember, A4 users, this is your pixel number. Letter paper users, this is your pixel number. These are the papers that you'll be printing on in your region. Okay then, so I'm going to redo that because it's good for me to have US letter size as well, just in case we need it for the tutorial. Now you'll remember that we dragged and dropped this in here. Okay, so we've already done that, and it has changed the ratio, but we don't mind at all. So your next step requires you to decide whether you want the front or the back of this printable for your cover. Okay, so which one would you prefer? Well, they're basically the same. So all we need to do now is we're just going to go to our select tool, and you're just clicking on that select tool, really important. And then there'll be some crosshairs are going to happen. This crosshair thingy that I'm moving around. We need this because all we're going to do now is as close as possible to this particular image. We're going to get our broken dash marks all the way around, and then we're going to let go. And voila, you have now selected the cover you're going to increase its size. So all you need to do is go up to this image here. Notice it says copy up at the left top corner. Copy. Click on that. All right, beautiful. Now go to your other page that is paint. Okay. So everybody remember, we have the pixels for the equivalent of the paper size we're going to be using to print this on. And all we do now is press paste, and there it is. All right, so now that you've pasted that in there, what we're going to do, see how there's those dashes all the way around? Because you've already pasted it there, this now has become a move tool. Can you see that? Now you can move it wherever you like. And what I recommend is you move it over. You can move it over like that with your mouse, your cursor, or your stylus, or you can use your arrows on your keyboard. But if you move it over, this will help you to be able to select this if you need to. It just takes it away from the edge, and it means you'll be able to get a really nice printout of this particular cover. But this is still 5.257, 7.25 inches in diameter. We want to change that, don't we? So what we're going to do, remember, see how there's all the dash lines because it's still selected. We're going to go into select. We forget about the percentage. We're going to pixels. We are now unticking this. Now, what's our pixels? Let's have a look. We want to change this to, let's have a look here. All right. Okay, so we want ours to be 6 by 8. So we're going to go all the way along here, and it's 1800 pixels by 8 along here, 2400 pixels. Okay, so that's all you have to do. Pretty groovy, hey? So 2400 and 1800, and watch what happens. Ta-da! There we go. So if you printed this now, it would be approximately, because it depends on your printer settings. In other words, you might not have borderless, or you might not be able to untick your borderless, and that will sort of affect the sizing, but it should be as close as possible to the numbers that you're after. If you're going for 8 by 6, whether it's 5 by 0.5 by 9, you should be able to get it almost exactly the same or very close to it. Okay, so that's this one here. So you can go ahead and print it. Now, what I do recommend though is you're going to need to find a place to save this. What I would recommend is where you're going to be saving this. I would recommend for those of you that are beginners to do it on your desktop, because at least that's an easy thing to find, because it's basically your screen in front of you. So it's just a matter of creating a folder and calling it Medieval Mirage Resized Covers. Now, with my terms of use, as many of you know, these have been designed for you to make only handmade crafts. So handmade journals, handmade mini albums, for your paper projects, they have to be physically utilized with the papers that I make, design. However, the one thing that you can do that's permitted is you can resize these journal pages. That has been allowed. Okay, so that's what you would have on your desktop, or if you know how to use your computer, well, you would need to organize yourself to make sure that these are going to be with the kits that are for Medieval Mirage. I'm sure a lot of you will have a folder that's Medieval Mirage kits, and I'm sure all the other folders below are listed, and maybe I might have to do a tutorial about how to organize them. That might prove helpful. All right, everyone, so we've copied and pasted it. So there we go. It's basically ready to go. So all you would need to do now is, and as I was mentioning earlier, to have a folder under Medieval Mirage on your desktop to begin with. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to save it. Save JPEG. And notice how I've made my Medieval Mirage covers resized. I'm going to click in there, and I've typed in resize Medieval Mirage cover 8 by 6, and I'm going to go save. Okay, so that's ready for you to print. It is absolutely ready for you to print. However, you might want to also add something else, and that is your spine. So let's do that, everyone. Let's grab our spine. Okay. So we're going to go for the spine. So here we have the spine. Okay, so what do we do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up another paint. Okay, so we've got another paint. And remember, what we do is we're going to just drop and drag our what do we call them? Our spines. Sorry. So don't worry about the numbers here. That doesn't matter. As long as we've got another paint page open that's according to our printer paper size. Okay, so remember what we do. We're going to get select. We're going to go with our little crosshairs. We're going to go all the way around it. And we're going to go, once we've made sure we've gone right around, we're going to go copy. Then we're going to go to our next page that we've already opened, but it's this one here. Okay, and what are we going to do? We're just going to make sure we're going to click on the white bit, and then we're going to press paste. Oh, and there it is. Now, at this stage, don't touch anything else. See how I've got these crosshairs, but they've got arrows and it's white. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move it around, and we're going to rotate it left or right, whatever you like. Ta-da! And we're going to put it down here. Okay. Now, this is really important, though. Do you remember how this is still only going to be the length of 7.25? We want to increase the length. We're happy with the ratio of the width, but we're going to go with the length. So this is where we're going to go here, because it's still got those broken dash marks all the way around it. So we're going to go image, we're going to go pixels, and we're going to leave this. So that will mean that this 697 would roughly be about 2 inches for the spine. I'm happy to keep it at 2 inches. Now, you're going to have to absolutely do your conversions through Google or whatever browser website you use, web browser you use, to find out what 2 inches is equivalent to pixels, or 1.5, and so forth. But at the moment, I'm going to keep it at this ratio. I'm unticking this box, and I'm going for, remember, we're going for 8 inches, which is 2400 pixels. Ta-da! There we have it, everybody. Everyone, so we've got the spine. Now, if you wanted to, and you wanted to make it wider, you could do it just by moving the move tool, because this has got those dashes all the way around. But the great thing is you'll be able to print this out and be almost exact or approximate. Now, the numbers that we are interested in down here at the moment on the white is make sure it's still at 2 at the pixel range that you're using. All right, so there we have it, everybody. That is how you can maximize the size of smaller digitals. And you can do the same with your printable papers too, which I'll show you in just a moment. So let's just now save this file, save as JPEG. Now, it's true that I've got this one on my own and I could replace it, but just in case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add this. I'm going to add spine, so that I know I've got both together. And now when I go in there, I have 2 of these. See that? Ta-da! And then you can go ahead and print. So now let's pretend we're printing, because I have already done some of these as prints. All right, so let's click on here. All right, so I'm going to click onto this with my mouse, and I'm going to print, and there's print. Here's zoom picture to eliminate blank space, might cut off edges of picture. I untick it immediately. This would be changed to photo matte paper, matte photo paper. And then in options, printer, you want to make sure you go to page setup. And here's what I've got here. I can do normal size, borderless, fit to page, scaled, page 2 layout. Well, I just only want borderless, and that's what I'm on at the moment. So this is where you're going to have to decide for yourselves you're going to need to play around with this, or whether you have that or not. I'm just going to go okay, because that's going to determine if it's going to be exactly the same or a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. So that's what you'll need to determine. And that may mean you might need this ticked if you want it larger. But if you don't, then untick. So that's why it'll require a few practice runs to do so. And that's why I would recommend, while you're doing that, that you just go for plain printer paper so that you're not wasting your good quality papers, and making sure that the ink is pretty standard, so that you're not going through too much ink. But you'll only need to just test it out, and then once you've printed it out, then get your ruler, measure everything, 8x6 or the centimeters, to see whether you're happy with that. So that is that. So whenever I talk about like dropping and dragging, what that means is you're going to have to use your stylus or your mouse, and you need to click on something, and you're going to need to, with your buttons, because you've got left and right buttons, you will need to click on your left button without lifting your finger, and then you're going to throw it in. So if I do that now, it will say save, don't save. I'll just say don't save, and there we have it. So that's how you drag and drop something in. Okay, but I don't want that there. I'm going to grab the other one because we'll do another one together. All right, so we're going to drag and drop this in. So clicking on that, I've clicked on it with my left button of my mouse. I haven't got a stylus, so you'll have to work that out. And then I'm going to just drop and drag. Drop and drag. Is that right? Yeah, drag and drop. That's better. Drag and drop. All right. So that's what you have to do with paint, everybody. I hope I've explained everything. We can also do the same with these guys, but using OpenOffice or any word processor. All you need to do is text document. Click on that. Okay, so you've got your page set up here. Da-da, da-da, da-da. All right. Okay. So what you need to do now, all it is, it's clicking onto the white bit that comes up. You're going to go down here to your dialog box. So all I've done is I right-click my mouse with its button, and I go to page, and this is where you're going to decide on the format of your paper. It's going to be A4 that you're going to print on, or letter size. So that's basically the only two that we really need to know about. And there we have it. Okay, so there is your paper sizing, or your paper format. Okay. All right, so we're going to just go okay. Now we're going to go back to our paint. So do you remember how we had our paint open? Remember how we had this image here? Well, you might have your crosshairs still available, or you might have your marching border of broken lines. What we're going to do is, again, if you haven't, we're going to create those broken lines. And okay, and then you're going to go copy. Then you are going to go to OpenOffice or your word processor, and you're going to go paste special. So see at the top, at the left hand side at the top, you've got file, edit. You're going to go all the way down, and you're going to select paste special. And this is going to tell you paintbrush picture, bitmap, or this file. Well, let's just try the first one and see. Right, we don't want that right now at all. we're going to go undo. Let's now go to bitmap. Bitmap. Okay. Now, say for example, you don't have that ability. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to now click on the end of this image, and we're going to go all the way down and create a new page. And now I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to paste it, and look at that mess. It's okay. Please don't panic. But you can see how things can look distorted if you're not keeping to within the ratio of something that I've already designed. The great thing is, see these little green little bits on little squares around this? It's okay. You can create it this way. And this can allow for you to play around with it. If you want it to be narrow, if you want the cover to look like that, you can. Want it to look like that, you can. But, you know, obviously it's going to look a little bit strange. So you're going to have to, again, work around that. So you can play around with it that way. These are going to be your buddies because you can just move them around however you wish. However, this is what we want to do, and we want to be precise or near to precision as possible. So here we go. All you have to do is click on this. Yeah. And you can move it up and down if you want to. All right. But all we have to do is we're going to go on this, and it's going to say picture. Ta-da! Okay, picture. All we have to do is go back to our printable, and here it is. So instead of looking at pixels, we're going to be looking at centimeters. That's the numbers we want that are equal to the inches. I'm going to try and put it to one corner, and maybe you can call out numbers to me, which I won't be able to hear. Okay, so what we want to do now is we're looking for our dimensions. We want this, in this example only, 8 by 6. So what's our numbers? Okay, our first one is 1524 centimeters. That's going to be our width. All right, so 15. So I'm just going to type this in, 15.24. You can use these little up and down ones, but they take a while. So I've typed that in. Okay, and we need our other one. What's our other one? 2032. So it's 20.32. So let's do that. 20.32. All right. Okay, here we go. And there it is, everyone. Ta-da! Now, this one here, we don't want this one now because we'll just go down. So all it's done is it's just put it onto the next page there. Okay. So this allows you to put numerous things that you want to increase on the one file, like on the one word processor thing. I mean, you can put so many there. It just makes it really practical. And it's all in one. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, remember we had the spine now. So we want the spine. And remember, we're going in for the paint with the spines. And remember, I liked this one here. So we're going to go around it. And remember, copy. And that's that one there. We want to put it here. So I'm going to go in and paste special, bitmap, and there it is. However, again, what do? Rather than click on here, we're going to click on here. We can widen it if we want. And I might just leave it like that. I've widened it a little bit. But now let's customize this by going on picture, right? Because remember, we're clicking the mouse button and we go picture and we just want the length. Do we remember the length, everyone? Okay, let's grab it. The length is 2032. That's all we want. 20, 32 centimeters. And there it is. Here we go. We can move it to one side, not only as a spine, but you might want to have it on the outside, but you might want to have it on the inside of your cover. So why can't we just copy and paste? And there you go. You've got two already. See? Okay. So we've got some twinsies there. And yeah, see how easy that is? Now, say for example, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just show you another one here. So I've got this image here from one of my kits, and these two images. Right, so we've got these two. They're from Medieval Maidens, Volume 3. And say, for example, you would like this to be the full size of your paper. So what do we do? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go into Paint, open up a page, and we're going to drag and drop. Remember, we're going to click on to the image we want with our left-hand button, and we're dragging and dropping. And there it is. Beautiful. But you want a full page, and for your A4 journals or your letter-sized journals. Okay. All right, so see how you've opened it like this? Well, to make life easy, what we need to do is we need to rotate this. Yeah, you'll see in a minute why. Now, again, remember we can use our zooming in, zooming out tool. We're going to go again with our crosshairs. We've selected our select tool, crosshairs. All right, let's go as close as we can to the perimeters of this image. All right, and then we're going to go copy. You'll see why it's important to rotate it, because it's just going to make life super easy. And we've got a nice blank page here. What are we going to do? We're going to click on there, and then we're going to press paste, select, bitmap. Okay. Ta-da, it's there. However, bit of a problem though, bit of a prob. Why? Because it's still going to be 10 by 7, because this is like for a 5 by 7 journal. So you can either get this to go to the corners, okay, or you can change the sizing. There we go. So that's what those little, let's just make this a little bit smaller for you to see. So all I've been doing is just moving those green dots. So now you only have one document with as many images as you need to resize on the one document. So you can see how it's going to save you a lot of time. Yes, it will take a while for you to get the hang of things, but once you decide, well, look, I want this, I want, say, 10 images, I want to resize them, but I want to be able to just print them, bang, bang, bang. Well, you've got them already in one file. Ta-da. And you'll be able to print them as such. Now, I just wanted to show you something else that you can do. Edit, paste, special here. The other thing is, remember, you can go onto this image here under picture. And remember, you're going to make this to the perimeters of your paper size as best you can without it looking distorted. So we remember that our numbers are, well, for A4, it's 21, which would be 0.00, and 29.7. So 29.7, Yeah, 29.7. And this one was just 21. Okay. All right, so it just skipped the cue, but that's all right. Absolutely. But can you see? You can either do it that way or you can eyeball it. So say, for example, with this one, if you've got a pretty good idea of your paper size, right, so if you put it sort of, say, in the middle here, then you can decide how this is going to look by just playing around with it this way. You can just eyeball it using these groovy little green things, or you can just click on and change the ratio, or you can check what that ratio is. And then you've got the conversion tool guide that will help you narrow it down a little bit closer. Okay, let me just show you something else. And what I've done, I've actually created a little thank you gift, but also for your practice sessions. So let me just get them for you and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so I've created these little groovy ones, and they're just based on, like, a lot of these are based on photographs. So they're going to be, and on old books. So they're not going to be perfect. I've done the best I can, but I've left them to be as natural as possible. But even if they're not your jam, it doesn't really matter. You can just practice with them. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to grab this one here. So I'm going to put I've got my select tool here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy. All right. All right, so I've made a new open office here because we're going to change this page to US letter size, just for the sake of it, so that you know what we're talking about, just in case. So you're the US letter size people. This is for you. Okay. So what's going to happen now is we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go with our bitmap. Remember, it's edit, paste special, bitmap, and there it is. Okay, so this is the giveaway. All right. Now, all you do is you make sure you're going to click on the image, picture, and then you're going to get the size that you require. So let's have a look at that for you guys. And that is 1524, 2032. And there you are. So you can do exactly the same. So the principle that I use for A4 works exactly the same for the people using US letter size format. So I hope that makes sense, everybody. So below will be this giveaway for you guys to practice. I've made it so that you can, if you're using the A4 format or the letter size format, I've adjusted it so that you can utilize that if you just want to print it out as is. But it's mainly for you to play and practice so that you don't have to go anywhere, just at your own home, at your own leisure. You can play around following my format. But if you're interested in my digital kits with the covers, then I'll list the one that I was using below at my shop. You'll find them under Codexes. If you type that into the search in my shop, I'll just show you what I mean. And I'll bring that up. Okay. So see how I've got here Codex? All right, so I always have things under custom, so that's the best. But yes, you can do Codex, and that will bring these up. But like I said to you before, I've got some kits that are like 5x7. Okay, quite a lot of these kits. Now you know how to increase the paper size. In fact, one thing I forgot to show you was how you can do that on paint. All right, so let's just undo this and let's just do this for paint. All right. All right, remember we're going to go copy. We're going to need a blank paint. Yeah. Make sure it's going to be your number. What you're going to do is you're going to rotate it this way. Then you're going to do paste. Beautiful. Now there's two ways you can do this. Remember, if you've got your little broken dash all the way around, you can just increase it to the corner and just play around with those dash marks until you get the right size. And that's one way of doing it. Or you can click onto the image size and then type in the pixels that you require so that it becomes either US letter or A4. So I hope that's been helpful, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. And you can see the reason why I've given you two options. It allows for a lot of versatility. So you might want to do quite a bit of printing. Wouldn't it be great to be able to do it this way with OpenOffice or any word processor? So then you want to save this, and I would save it with, so I would save this with the file that we've already been working on. Okay, even though it's a document, that's where I would keep it all together so I know what I'm doing. So once again, Medieval Mirage, resized for printing. And in this way, you know what it is, but you know who the person is. So when you open it up, it will be there, and that's what it's going to look like. So if I grab the, see, there it is. So Medieval Mirage, but it's got that icon, and then of course that icon is the word processor, you know, to type out your documents, your text, but we're using it for printing. And yeah, so I'm hoping I've explained myself as properly as possible. I think I've utilized everything that I needed to share, but I hope it's been helpful. I hope you can experience a revolution when it comes to resizing your papers to the exact size that you want, or almost to the exact size, but that will require you guys printing, measuring, playing, and watching this video over and over again. Please, if you're new here, subscribe, because this is what I'm all about. It's the Medieval Mirage method to make it as easy as possible for you guys, or to do a different approach, different ways and avenues to help you guys out. Share this link with others, invite others to come and visit this, because I know it's going to be invaluable, because you won't be able to look at your kits the same as again. The ones that you've purchased, anything that is of small size and you want to increase, you can. However, just be mindful that when something's being designed at a certain sort of ratio, if you are going to go well beyond that ratio, you can either start lessening the quality of it. It can become more pixelated, and also it can become a bit distorted. So try to be reasonable. So I've given you a range of numbers here. of what would be reasonable. Okay, from 5 to 11, that's pretty reasonable. But if you're going to go beyond that, then you could be running into trouble. The other thing is with my kits, you can print them on A3 paper if you have an A3 printer, and they will still look really good quality. But if you're going to go up to poster size, well, you could be pushing it because I never designed it to be that large. But anyway, everyone, look at the description box below. Get your downloads and start practicing with me. Watch this video over and over again. I will do my best to get back to you with any of your questions or comments. Let me know if this has been helpful, and let me know if you need any more help with these type of things. But I will show you how to use this format for those of you that do have software editing. But I think you guys are pretty smart. You'll get the gist. But this is such a great shortcut. And for those of you that are beginners, feeling a little bit overwhelmed, I hope this is going to solve that problem for you. Thanks, everybody. Please take care and enjoy the thank you gift giveaways too. All the best. Thank you. So everybody, I hope that has helped you. I hope this video has been just what you've needed. And as I was saying earlier, my kits have been designed at a certain parameter only because it allows for every person that has different paper sizes to utilize them. But now, whether you're from people that use letter size formats or A4 formats, and you want to US digitals on A4 format or A4 digitals on US formats, now you know how to go about it and increase the size so that you get the best out of all the kits that you've purchased. They're not a waste anymore. They're there, they're available. Now go and enjoy and increase the size of your images within reason, and enjoy. Share this link because there's thank you gift giveaways and instructions below that will be proving helpful. Yeah, get everyone to join us so that they too can be liberated with their digitals and their digital printing. Thanks everyone. Take care. Bye.